Is the market hot or cold? Stick around and you're going to find out.
You better get fired up.
Guys, I appreciate you joining us, whether you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook. If you've got any questions, comments, or anything before the end of the video, feel free to put them in the comments and we will get back to you before the end of this video. We wanted to do a video on whether or not the market is hot or cold because we hear so many comments. It's one of the biggest questions and concerns that we get. Half the people are saying, man, real estate's the best place to put your money. The financial markets, who knows what's going on? We're absolutely going all in on real estate. Other people think the real estate market's going to collapse and the sky is falling. So what I try to do is what I always try to do, which is to take my emotions out of it and look at the data, right? So the data I'm about to give you is not United States data. It's not even Florida data. It's Port St Lucie data. So it's very specific to our market here. If you're in another state and you're watching, or you're even in a different market here in Florida, you may want to reach out to a realtor you trust to pull these same statistics for you, right? But here's what I'm looking at. I'm going to give you two simple statistics. First, I want to talk about what is inventory. Inventory is the amount of homes available to you if we look at the current amount of homes that are on the market, and we tell you how long it would take to sell them based on how long it's taken to sell them in the last 30 to 60 days, right? So as an example, let's say in the last 60 days, we're averaging selling 10 houses a day, right? That's 300 a month. And right now on the market, there's 300 homes for sale. That's a month of inventory, right? So anywhere in that, I would say 3 to 4 months is kind of a neutral market. Anything over 4 months, you're starting to look at a buyer's market. Anything under 3 months, you're starting to look at a seller's market. And I'll tell you, when the market was at its peak, right, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, we were looking at 19 days of inventory here in Port St Lucie, which I've never seen. I'll probably never see again. It was crazy. And I'll tell you, when I sold in Minnesota back in 2008, we were looking at 24 to 36 months of inventory. It was probably the most challenging seller's market I've ever seen. I wouldn't even say it's a buyer's haven, right? Because in a strong seller's market, it's awesome for sellers. They're getting buyers. The offers are crazy. The terms are crazy. Everything is great for the sellers. But in a strong buyer's market, the challenge is, even though the deals that go through are going to be significantly underpriced and the terms are going to favor the buyers and everything else, it's still really challenging to get a seller to say yes to whatever you're offering, right? So a buyer's market's tough. Seller's market, really easy, but the terms and prices aren't that great for buyers, right? So what are we seeing right now? I am seeing the tale of two markets, right? And the first market is that first-time home buyers market. And I've judged that to be about 200 to 400 grand here in Port St Lucie. It's tough to get anything under 200. If you do, you're looking at condos, townhouses, that type of thing. But now you're adding in HOA fees because they're in a homeowners association. So once you look at the monthly payment, it's the same as a $200,000 to $400,000 home anyway, right? So I'm looking at 200,000 to 400,000, and I'm comparing it to that 500 to $1 million. There's not a lot of homes in Port St Lucie that sell every month over $1 million. It's just not a market we have unless you're right on a beautiful part of the St. Lucie River. There's a handful of homes, maybe in PGA. That's about it, right? There's a handful more, but that's about it. So not a huge market here in Port St. Lucie. Yes, if you go to Martin. Yes, if you go up to Fort Pierce, you look at some of the stuff on the ocean, but not here, right? So in that first-time homebuyer market of 200,000 to 400,000, we're looking at 5 weeks of inventory. 5 weeks inventory. So what that tells me is, not only is it a seller's market, it is a strong seller's market. And any agent who's got a property listed up to that $400,000 mark will tell you they're getting several showings. They're getting offers, sometimes multiple offers. The prices are strong, usually full price, maybe even more if you've got multiple offers. And you're seeing competitiveness in that market, right? It is very different from that 500 to $1 million market. In that market, we're seeing almost 6 months of inventory. I wouldn't say it's a strong buyer's market, but it's definitely a buyer's market, and it's starting to get close to a strong buyer's market, right? So it's challenging for a seller to sell in that market. You've got to make sure your home looks good, your price is good, your marketing is good, you're attracting a lot of buyers agents and buyers. You've got to have the full package if you want to get that property sold, right? Whereas in that lower 200 to 400, you can be kind of close. Your house can look kind of good. You want it to look sharp. You want all the marketing done because you'll make more. But even if you don't, because it's such a strong market, you'll still sell. So is the market hot? Depends on the market you're looking at. 200 to 400, absolutely. It's sizzling hot for a seller. If you're looking 500 plus, it's a little bit more challenging. Lissette, what are you seeing out there?
You're spot on, Joe. I couldn't agree more. I'm having the same conversations with my sellers as I'm having with my buyers in both of those markets. So, for example, with my sellers that are in the above 500 range, I'm having the conversation. We have to make sure the property looks sharp. We have to make sure we're making the property accessible to buyers when they want to come and view it. We have to make sure our photos are on point. We clean up the property. We get rid of the clutter. And prepping them also, we're probably going to be in this listing a little longer than we would have been maybe a year ago. So I'm prepping them. And it may, right now we're looking even up to 7 months on the market in the higher price point range. So I'm prepping them and having that conversation with them. Now with my sellers and my buyers in the lower price point, 450 and under, for sellers, I'm having a conversation, also let's prep the property. Let's make it look sharp. We want to take advantage of all those buyers that are going to come in the second we put the property on the market. We have right now a pretty hot market when it comes to first-time home buyers, and we're even experiencing multiple offers. What we're maybe not seeing is multiple offers within the first 48, 72 hours like we were back a year ago.
Yeah.
But within a week or two, offers start rolling in, and we may have a couple offers on the table. And with my buyers, what I'm explaining to them is if you see your property you like, don't lowball them because you're going to lose it. And especially if you think it's the type of market where you could ask for a lot of seller concession, sellers are not having it. They rather wait on the market specifically and then the sweet spot of the lower price point. They know the offers are going to come within a time period. So they rather wait it out than dish out a bunch of seller concessions. So yeah, it's a different type of market. It's still moving. It's just very specific to price point and also buyers and sellers understanding where for sellers, multiple offers within 24, 48 hours, not going to happen. And for buyers, don't underbid.
I love all of that. And I'm going to piggyback off of something you said with buyers in that $200,000 to $400,000 range. I'm also telling them you don't want to come in low. You don't want to try to negotiate when we're setting up showings maybe on a Thursday for a Saturday, right? We're giving them 48 hours. We'll be looking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Those buyers are sending me things. If they send me 10 homes on a Monday, by the time I go to schedule midday on Thursday, probably half to 75% of them are under contract, right? Like I said, it's 5 weeks inventory. If they look sharp, they're priced right, their marketing is good, they're going to go under contract. And when I talk about 5 weeks of inventory, I think it's important to know also there are a lot of listings that are just going to be overpriced. They're going to be 20, 30 grand over what the realtor told them they should be. They're going to have incorrect info. Maybe they're listed as a 2-bed instead of a 4-bed. That's going to really hurt their amount of showings. Or they're listed as 1,000 square feet instead of 2,000. That's going to hurt their showings. There's different things marketing wise that are going to slow some listings down, right? But if you've got everything going on, it's going to sell quick. I want you to remember though, audience, that there are a lot of sellers out there who are not priced right, who are not marketing their homes right. They're pulling that number up to 5 weeks of inventory. If you're just looking at the homes that are priced well, marketed well, you're going to see that it's lasting about 1 to 3 weeks on average, right? So just remember that too. So that conversation looks a little bit different with buyers in that 500 plus range, where I'm telling them, guys, yes, it is a buyer's market. And yes, when you come in on the home that you love, you can probably get it and you're not going to have any competition with it. But what are you seeing right now early in this market? And I kind of alluded to this earlier in the video when it comes to, hey, here's a $600,000 home. I want to come in at 550 because these people know it's a buyer's market. What are you seeing with that?
Well, the sellers aren't willing to budge as easily as they were, or they would be in a traditional buyer's market. They don't feel the pinch quite yet. They're not in pain. And a lot of them aren't super eager to sell super fast because they want to make sure they get that price point that they want. So, and understanding also the value of the property, looking at the comps, $50,000 is a huge price reduction for a seller. So that's not an easy negotiation tactic for them to come to agree to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing. And I remember this back in 2008. Everybody and their mother, you didn't have to be in real estate. You knew the market was tanking, right? But even though you saw that, it didn't mean sellers were going to buy into it. They were going to dig their feet in. They weren't going to budge. And it took maybe a year to 18 months before they finally said, okay, I have to sell or else I'm going to go into foreclosure. I can't move on or whatever it is. So I will. What I saw in Minnesota, though, that I'm not seeing here, and part of it has to do with where we're at in time. Part of it has to do with, we've got older people down here with more money. This is a retirement area, so people are coming down here with their 6-7 figure bank account. In Minnesota, you're not seeing, nearly as much of that as you are down here. So when I was up in Minnesota, you're seeing people. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, you're seeing people who, if they don't sell, they're going to go into a short sale or a foreclosure situation, right? They're in a bind. Down here, these people have either all cash or high cash. They don't have to sell. They can sit for a while. So is it a buyer's market? It is a buyer's market in the sense that you don't have to compete. If you're willing to pay full price or close to full price and give just average terms, you don't have to give amazing terms, just average terms, you should be able to get the property. But if you're trying to wheel and deal, it's not that you can't. You can, but you better A, not be excited about getting the home of your dreams, and B, you've got to be willing to put in a ton of offers, right? If you're going to come in 50 grand low, it might take you 8, 10, 12, 15 homes to actually find the one. And it's probably not going to be your favorite one because your favorite one is pretty and it's well priced, and that's going to attract other buyers, right? It's probably going to be the ugliest one that you want the least, but you'll get the sweet deal. So you really got to ask yourself, is money more important or is getting the home of my dreams more important? And I would say, even though I know wheelers and dealers, man, I've got a stepdad. It could be 20 grand overpriced, and as long as they come down 10 grand, he feels like he got a deal, right? That's just the way he feels. I know people who feel like they've got to do it, but really, if you sit down with most people and ask them genuinely, what matters more, getting what you feel is a deal or getting the home that best fits you and your family's needs? Getting the home that best fits their needs, even if they pay 10, 20 grand more. Same is true with me. I'd way rather overpay and get the home of my dreams than get a $10,000, $20,000 deal on a home and it doesn't fit what I want. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh no, definitely. And that's the conversation I'm having with my buyers right now at the moment. They're seeing some properties on the market and that needs work, and they think that they may be able to wheel and deal, like you say, and come in $30,000-$40,000 under the asking price. And unfortunately, we're not getting the property because we're not there at that price point. So either, you have to kind of compromise and say, okay, what do I want? Am I willing to put a little bit of work into this property and pay a little bit higher price? Or am I, if you're going to lowball a seller, you're going to lose the property.
Yeah. All right, guys, if you've got questions, again, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can always put them in after the video's over. We're more than happy to get back to you with answers. And of course, if it's something private, you can DM or call either one of us at any time. We're happy to help you. Lissette, I appreciate you coming in and sharing your experience in the market, man. It's super helpful for everybody.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. You guys have a great week.